Hey budget gardeners, Rita Loki here. Join me today as I share what you need to gather in order to do winter sowing. So let's go. This video is going to focus on all the things you need in order to start the winter sowing process. I've made a few videos in the past talking about the winter sowing process, how to winter sow, and even doing some winter sowing reveals showing you plants that I've grown using this method. So what I'll do is put some links to those videos down in the description area. So be sure to check those out. I've been winter sowing for a number of years. I love it. I'm hooked, I admit it. And my goal is to introduce it to you, and hopefully it's something that you try this winter. It's a very simple process, and what I like about it is you can grow plants without having grow lights. You're basically creating little mini greenhouses for your plants outdoors in nature, and whatever seeds that you plant in your mini greenhouses will germinate when the right conditions occur. I typically like to start the winter sowing process sometime after the winter solstice. It actually is a great time because it's the middle of winter, and what else are we doing anyway? So why not do this project? Many seeds actually require a long, moist period of time, and winter sowing is perfect for those types of seeds. And also, winter sowing is cheap, it's easy, and it's actually a lot of fun. Okay, so let's talk about what you'll need in order to winter sow. I want you to start thinking about this so you can start collecting your items as well. The first thing you'll need is some sort of a container that will act as a mini greenhouse outdoors. And my number one choice that I like to use are milk jugs. I've been collecting my milk jugs for months. And over here, I have a large black trash bag full of milk jugs. I have 5 of these trash bags out in my barn. So I will be all set for the winter sowing process. So start collecting your containers. Now you don't have to use a milk jug. The key is it needs to be some sort of a container that can let light through. So it needs to either be clear or semi-clear. So you can see that this milk jug is not completely clear, but it still will let light through. You can also use something like a plastic tote or container. You can use a rotisserie chicken container. Some other options are juice jugs, or even the little plastic containers that salad mix comes in. So be creative with your container. I like to use things that I have readily available, that are easy to find. The big thing is you want to make sure that your container can hold at least 4 inches of soil in it. And also, other than the 4 inches of soil that will be at the base of your container, you also want to make sure you leave enough room so as the plants inside start growing, they don't just bump into the top of your container. So it needs to be a little on the taller side. Also, with whatever container you choose, you want to make sure that you keep the cover. So when it comes to the milk jugs, you can throw away the cover on this, but the main top part of this milk jug will act as the big cover for this container. And that big cover will protect the plants that are inside and act again as a little greenhouse. But if you use something like a plastic tote, you want to make sure you keep the cover, and you're going to be putting holes in that cover to let some water in there to keep watering the plants. The next thing that you're going to need is some sort of a potting soil or potting medium. You don't want to use seed starting mix because it's very light, very fluffy, and it dries out super easily. So potting mix is a really good choice. Now you can either buy your potting mix or you can make your own potting mix. I've done that before. It's a very cheap, effective way to make your own potting mix. And I have a video that I've made that I'll share with you, put the link below, and it tells you how to make your own potting mix. And right over here, I have a big bucket actually of potting mix. So this is perfect. You want to make sure that you get that on hand as well. A lot of times at garden centers, especially if you live in a cold climate like mine, potting mix might be frozen. So make sure you get your potting mix now and put it in a place where it can thaw out if it is frozen. I like to store mine in my garage, but you can definitely bring it in your house if you want to. And also, you don't want to use garden soil. Garden soil can have bugs in it, plus it might be way too heavy. Potting mix is your best bet when it comes to winter sowing. The next thing that you'll need is a marker. I like to use a garden marker. My experience has been that the garden marker does not wear off, especially when it's sunny out, raining, snowing. But if you have another marker that's worked for you, you definitely want to get that marker ready and on hand. And you want to make sure you have something that you can cut your containers with. I like to use these snips here. They're called metal tin snips. And what I like about my tin snips is that not only can I cut my milk jug very, very easily, because I used to use regular scissors and it was a little harder. It was doable, but it was a little harder. And I can do it a lot easier with these. But what I also like about these is I can also very easily create the drainage holes on the bottom of my milk jug. I can't reach the center of the milk jug to make the drainage holes, but the surface area is not very big on the bottom. So it's very easy for me to cut my drainage holes on all four edges of the bottom of my milk jug. You can also use many other things to create holes in the bottom of your container. You can use screwdrivers. Just look around, be creative, and if I can think of anything else that you could use to create holes in the bottom of your containers, I'll pop that up on the screen. The next thing that you'll need is duct tape. Duct tape is very important because that's what holds your container together. And in this case, with my milk jug, because I will be cutting it in the center here, I need to seal it and close it for the winter months so it doesn't blow open. But the duct tape is going to be optional depending on your container. So if you're using something like a tote, then perhaps you don't need duct tape because you have your tote and then you have your lid. So just know that you only need the duct tape depending on what you're going to be using for your container. I also like to use a plant tag. There are lots of different types of plant tags out there. I ran out of them, but at one point I had those horizontal Venetian blinds, and those are perfect for cutting up and using as plant tags. The whole reason that you want to use some sort of a plant tag is if for whatever reason your garden marker or your Sharpie wears off on the outside of your container, you're not going to remember or know what plant is in each of your containers. Therefore, if you have a plant tag, you can also label that, put that inside each of your containers, and that will ensure that you don't lose the tag for each of your plants, and you'll know what's in each of your containers. Watering the seedlings inside of your containers is very important. And when I first create all my containers and put all the seeds in there, the potting mix, everything, I also need to make sure I water it that first time. So I bought a very small water pump sprayer. And this is perfect for a number of reasons. I use this for the winter sowing method, but I also use it when I'm watering my seedlings indoors under grow lights. So it was a great investment for me a few years ago. And also what I like about it is once these milk jugs are outside during the winter, after the winter months, even though I can use my garden hose, I still like to use this water sprayer because it just gives just enough water, a nice mist for me to water my tender seedlings. So you definitely need a way to water all your seedlings, and you can be creative with that as well. There are different ways you can do that. You just want to make sure you're not pouring a ton of water on your plants, just a small amount to give them water when they need it. And then the final thing that you need is you need seeds. You can just do one packet of seeds if you want. Because I've been doing this for a number of years, I typically have somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 40, 50 milk jugs that I get going outside. Please comment below if there's something else that I missed in this video that you just can't live without when it comes to winter sowing. If you have any questions or comments, I always love hearing from you. Be sure to follow along. I'll be showing you my process for how I winter sow a ton of seeds. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.